When you decide that you want to write a story, you want to write a book, you need to ask yourself, why? Why do I want to write a book? Or why do I want to write a story? It's easy for us to come up with, an answer like, well, I have a story in mind, like there's characters involved, there's a plot, maybe even a world and stuff like that. But our reason for writing and telling a story comes from something that is a lot deeper. It usually boils down to we have something we want to say. There's something that we want to say, and we want to say it pretty loud. But we don't just want to we don't just want to write, what we want to say in like an article or a blog post or even a single sentence. We want to tell it through the art of storytelling. And that's one of the most beautiful things about storytelling itself is that it involves something that we want to say. Now, what is that thing that we want to say? That's the next thing that we have to figure out is what do we want to say? What is important? What is important about what we want to say that everyone else or as many people as possible need to hear it? And then when you figure out what it is you want to say, ask yourself, how will this benefit somebody else? Or how will it bring value to somebody else? Now, it could bring value from, a bit of kind of a wide, like a big scale standpoint, like this is a social issue that I want to say, that I have something to say about that will bring awareness to people about it. Or it's something that has to do with like a personal value. Like this will help an individual person with something that they have been struggling with trying to figure out. Um, a good story is thought provoking. It gets the reader to think. It gets the reader to debate in their minds. Maybe they can apply what they're thinking, or they can apply the kinds of thoughts that you provoke in them to their lives somehow, and it brings them some sort of benefit. That's one of the reasons why we love the hero's journey so much, the classic hero's journey so much, is because it inspires people to be heroes in their own way. It inspires them to be better people. It's so important that in the structure of the hero's journey, it always starts off with the main character rejecting the call to heroism. And the reason why it starts with a rejection to the call is because that's most relatable to people reading the story. It's relatable to people to see someone else rejecting, the call to do something big, to do something that scares you, to do something that's risky. It would be far less realistic, and we would feel more detached from the main character if Luke Skywalker, for example, didn't reject the call and he just went right in. He went right in to go on this hero's journey, to do something big, to do something that's beyond himself. I think what's so interesting, too, about the story of Luke in particular is what's so fascinating about the fact that he rejects the call at first is that before he rejected the call, to go on that journey was actually something that he really wanted to do. Like, he yearned for it. We remember that iconic scene in the first Star Wars when he's standing outside his home and he's staring out at the twin suns, and there's just this longing in him to go out and do something meaningful, to take risks. He has a hunger for it, and he feels held back because obviously his uncle wants him to stay on the farm and continue helping out his uncle and aunt instead of joining the rebellion. And so kind of going back full circle about, having something significant to say that moves people, again, to include that rejection to the call in the hero's journey adds that relatability. It gets people to think. It makes them maybe even feel a little bit uncomfortable because they realize that if they were in someone like Luke's position, they probably would have done the same thing. If they were in Bilbo's position, they probably would have done the same thing. They probably would have turned down that adventure. So again, when you decide that you want to write a novel and tell a story, regardless of what that story may be, you have to ask yourself, what is it through this story that I want to say? Am I setting out to say something about myself? Am I setting out to say something about, society as a whole? Something about politics, about, social issues, about human nature. It can, like, one of the things that I enjoy writing about is, sometimes the issues of human nature, the flaws of it, but also, also the positive parts of it, that no matter how much evil there is in the world, there is always good. One of my favorite book series growing up was A Series of Unfortunate Events, and those books are depressing. There's so much dark in those books. There's so much about, just the flaws of human nature, the evil of humanity, but the books also point out the good in there too. And the good always comes from places that we would least expect. From, in the case of of those books, these resourceful children who have essentially been through hell, and they still strive to do what's right, and they feel bad when they feel like they've done something wrong, when they've stooped to the same point as the villain. So, yes, I feel like this should have been one of my earlier videos in the series, but that is my question to you. If you want to write a novel, or maybe you've already started on one, what is it that you want to say? And how do you believe that what you have to say will benefit your readers? I hope you enjoyed this latest entry in my series. I'm currently working on a book right now. It's the second book in a cyberpunk trilogy that I'm working on. First book, The Glass God, is out now. You can find it on Amazon in the link in the description below. And if you want to see more like this, if you want to join this community of people that I'm growing, to help each other with the writing process, to help each other throw around ideas, and to write novels together, and to make novels cool again, you can go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell. I record a video just about every single night and post it the next morning, so you will be getting content from me consistently. And as this community grows, and as I continue putting out videos, I'm going to make sure that the kind of content that you will have access to will grow and become more diverse as well. That being said, I will see you guys next time. I am Forrest.